Welcome to another episode of Soul Sentred, the podcast. I'm Jaynie Morris, your host. It's my absolute pleasure to have you back with us once again. And I have a question just for you. Have you ever heard a little voice in your head, or have you ever had that feeling inside that you're superhuman? Do you remember being a child and running around and being a superhero? Or perhaps you've got children or grandchildren right now that are leaping off tall bricks in the backyard and with their capes and, doing Spider-Man, being Spidey Girl. I'm actually called Spidey Girl by my grandson at the moment. So if you've ever had that feeling or that thought of an inner superhuman, there's a reason for that, because you are. And I'm really excited about my guest today. Ria Mestiza is an absolute delight to talk to when it comes to all things superhuman. She's a contributor to our magazine, Soul Sentred magazine. So if you haven't already subscribed to get your copy every time the issues come out, please go to our website, soulsentre.com with an S, SOULSENTRE.com, and have a look at the issues that have been before and the ones that are coming out now, because Ria is a contributor and she writes some amazing articles that can help you tap into your superhuman core of your heart. But today, Ria has joined us because she's going to give us a little bit of an insight on her life, her background, and her purpose and mission in life, and how she got there. So with no further ado, mincing up my words because I'm in front of a superhuman right now. Ria Mestiza, welcome to Soul Sentred, the podcast.
Thank you, Jaynie. That was a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
You are welcome. And as I just mentioned, if you wouldn't mind, can you just give us a little bit of an insight on your life, Ria, and your story?
How far back do you want to go?
Oh, well, let's just take it right back, shall we?
In the health and wellness space, it's been 15 years now for me, and that period of time has actually been one of both personal and professional growth, I would have to say. It's a very life-changing period of time for me. It was a time when I moved back from Melbourne to Adelaide, and I decided to change careers. So I was in the corporate world before that, in the event space, and decided, what else do I like to do? And I really enjoyed at that time, or when I was younger than that even, was to teach people how to dance. I was a choreographer. I enjoyed group classes and things. So I thought, well, why don't I get into the fitness space and see what that's like? And actually fell in love with personal training and never looked back. And every year since, I've just been adding certification and diploma of everything that is going to fully equip my tool belt with everything that I can support and help my clients that I work with. So it's been a great blessing for me over the years to acquire these skill sets and abilities to help guide my clients in whichever way they need. I really do feel that I am a holistic coach on every level, mind, body, and soul. It's very hard to put a title on what I do.
It is, isn't it?
It's very difficult. And so I know that when people meet me and they think, I've seen your posts and you're in the fitness and health space, I really want to get my health in a better position. And then they're like, wow, I'm really getting so much more out of this than I ever thought I would. Like, it's completely transformational. Some people are ready to take their identity to a place where they wouldn't have even believed they could achieve. I think one of my great gifts is being able to see the potential in people and bring it out of them, and help them believe that they're capable of so much more than they're doing. And then that belief in them gives them the strength to be able to go after what they want to do, you know what I mean? So, and it's a bit like how I've been able to do that. It's like I just kind of jumped into this new career space, started my own business, never had started a business before, so had no idea really about the ins and outs of running your own business. And so that takes time to acquire those skills as well. So professionally helping people, but also growing and learning, on the side. I'm always growing and learning every day. Even now, I don't think that I will never think that I know everything, because there is always so much to know, and things that I will, I guess, things that I did believe that I now have learnt, actually I alter my thoughts on what I thought that was. And this is what I now believe. It's like as you grow and evolve, so do your thoughts and your perception of life and just being. But yeah, that's my health and wellness journey, so to speak. I guess a lot of the guidance around the things that I've learnt, I feel like I get guided to learn things. And so that usually happens in the form of an emergency, right? Like, so when I first became qualified as a personal trainer, literally in the exam, I was in agony, but I wanted to finish my exam, as you do, you push yourself.
Yes.
And then I collapsed to the floor. And so I ended up in the emergency room. And then, it's a whole journey of trying to discover what was wrong, because everyone was like, oh, you're a healthy person. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. What are we even doing here? And it's like, well, obviously there's something wrong. And so that led me to, doing my diploma in remedial. So then I became a remedial therapist. And I thought, and the chiro helped me. And I was like, maybe I'll do chiropractic. But that wasn't available at the time in Adelaide. And so everything sort of like led me to something else. And it's like a health, like I nearly died of an anaphylactic reaction to food. And I think, this is in 2018. And then that led me on another journey. So it's like, okay, I nearly died. No one believes me. No one wants to, help me discover what this actually is. What's the root cause of this issue? But I knew deep down that this had to happen. I mean, one, it's a blessing I didn't die.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I
was
just thinking that.
Yes, there was a blessing that I didn't
Thank
die.
goodness.
Which I actually attribute that to a time in my life, probably around 2014, where I experienced probably the worst anxiety that I ever had. When I had anxiety attacks and things like that. I think my ability to then, which led me to learn breath work, right, which saved my life, because I didn't panic when I knew that what was happening to me.
Yeah.
So, come forward around that, like I enrolled myself into doing my Bachelor of Health Science to become a naturopath, because I'm like, all right, if these allergy doctors are the ones that are saying, no, you're fine, just keep going, you'll be okay. And it's like, no, hang on, I nearly died. So I really need to be a resource for people to be able to come to who are experiencing similar things to me. And that's the kind of practitioner I see myself as. It's like, from my experiences is where I teach, and then that's where my truth comes through. And people understand that when they meet me, because they know I'm genuine. It's like, well, I know what I'm talking about because I've actually experienced it firsthand. Like, I'm not just, I can regurgitate textbooks. I've read 84 books already this year. It's like I can regurgitate textbooks, but I can't fake what I've actually lived through. And that's what has the most profound difference when people meet with me and they're like, okay, let's do the work. Please help me. Let's do this journey together.
It's interesting, as you've shared that, Ria, that your healthy curiosity of life, daily or weekly or life events that have come along, and how you've looked at those and gone, okay, well, this is affecting, well, to the extreme where you nearly died, but this is affecting me, or this has come into my world, and well, maybe I should go and like learn about that. Maybe I'll go and get qualified in that. I'll get qualified in this. I'll get qualified in that. When you were doing each of those steps, were you thinking, I'll go and do it and get qualified for my business? Or were you doing it because you thought, I'll go and learn it, I'll get qualified, so that at some point in time, it's going to be part of my purpose in serving?
Yeah, all of the above. Because I think the urgency, first and foremost, is one, I need to discover what's wrong with me to help myself. But deep down, I know that you learn more when you learn to teach.
Yes.
And so one, I'm learning to help myself. And two, I know that I'm learning because I'm going to help others. And, patterns have repeated itself. It's like I didn't just understand that immediately. It's like from every little thing that continues to happen. And then I get through that. And then, when the student is ready, the teacher arrives and it's like, hi, I'm here. And it's like, oh, I've just gone through this like thing and no one believes me and I don't know what's wrong with me. And it's like, hi, I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, let's do this. I know what to do. And so I don't know. I've just always known that deep down in my soul that like that was the next step. And I wasn't afraid. Like, I mean, a part of me was afraid that yes, I was going to have another reaction and not be so lucky the second time. So I was very, very cautious for years. Years. I had a very strict, even more restrictive diet than I ever did when I was doing bodybuilding competitions. Was after that period of time, because it was a process of elimination and determining the root cause, and that took quite a long time to get to the bottom of that one. And also, so that's from the body perspective, the mind perspective, and from a soul perspective, that led me to, I guess, my shamanic initiation. And so that led me down another deeper soul path, because they say that, you only get initiated as a shaman when you have a near-death experience. You get hit by lightning, or just any sort of near-death experience. And so, again, knowing that I had a near-death experiences, and now, when books fly off the shelf or these things kind of arrive on your lap, and you're learning this, you're like, okay, I need to learn this because, and it's a vibration in my body as well. Like, energetically, I know, and it resonates. And then again, the student arrives that needs that what I've just learned to be put into practice. So it's really like an enlightening opportunity. Everything that is inherently seen as bad, I don't view it that way, because I know that, for every bad there's a good, and it's all up leveling. Like, when you in this game of life, if we're superhumans in a video game, it's like we're not going to get to the next level by just cruising through and it's all like sunshine and roses. You're going to get to a dark period where you're scared and you don't know what's around the corner, and then all of a sudden this gigantic monster will arrive that you will need to conquer. And then once you won't actually be able to conquer that monster the first time. You'll get beat down. You will have to start again the whole level from the beginning, and that frustration and that just so many emotions are coming through, and then you get to that point again, and it's like each time you get better, and then eventually you will conquer that monster, and you will go to the next level. And again, and then you do it again. And it's I guess it's releasing the expectation that life is supposed to be this linear, like, cruisy journey. I actually get excited more so now about the fact that there is going to be another challenge, and there's going to be something else that I need to overcome, because it's like, you don't go to the movies to just like watch a storyline that's like, oh, Jaynie is this lovely woman and she's got this podcast, and Rosie and everything's great, and then the end. It's like, no, Jaynie's like a warrior. She's gone through so much, and then she keeps rising. Try to keep her down because it's not going to happen. And then, like, and you're the hero of the movie, and everyone's like, yes. And that's life. Like, for however long we have a purpose to bring, to share, and I feel like you asked me about my purpose. I feel my purpose more now is to lead by example, and the people that I work with are primarily, they're leaders in their own right. It's the executives, it's the business owners, it's the mums and dads, it's even the teenagers that I work with. They're examples to their friends and families and co-workers from what they do, and it's a beautiful journey for me to witness when I see that when someone is really making a transformation and a change in their life, how much that trickles across to everybody else, and then other people start to take an example from their lead. And so it's just a trickle-on effect. So by my little pebble into the ocean, it's like it just has this ripple effect. And that, I just love that so much. They may never know my name, but it's like by some little, just a little pebble in the ocean, I've been able to make some sort of impact along the line. And that's really what I'm here to do, is to support people in whichever way that they need me to. And I just show up wholeheartedly. Like, I really believe that I'm a vessel for whatever they need. You know, I do, you know, I'm a psychic medium as well. So sometimes it's to do with the healing more so. You know, they come to me for coaching and it's like, okay, their mum or dad may have passed away and they haven't quite healed from that part. And so then we go down that, like, you know, discussion. And it's a beautiful thing because you could have an accountant, for example, who, you know, next minute we're both crying because now he's healed from his mother's death and he's got that closure.
Yeah.
And the next minute we go back out and we train. It's like,
Yeah.
you know,
it's definitely multi-layered. Let's just go back to when you said a moment ago in regards to everybody is an example, you know, and to be able to lead by example. I think that was a really important point, and I'm sure that many of our audience clicked on that. There was a penny drop on that as well, Ria, because, you know, if we think about it, it doesn't matter who we are, where we are in life, where we are in the world, physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Somebody is looking at us. Somebody is looking at us in the workplace. Somebody is looking at us in the family, you know, our children, our grandchildren. They're looking at us. And sometimes we forget that that's happening, and sometimes we forget that whatever we're doing, whatever we're saying, however we're showing up, is actually reflecting back to those individuals in a way that they might do in their lives as well. So placing an emphasis on who we are and how we show up and what we do and what we say is really important. I think you made a really good point on that when you said that before. So do you, I mean, you do that organically anyway in your work that you do, both personally and professionally as well. Do you see those changes happening before your clients do in some cases, or
sometimes it's all guided, you know, and I really trust the intuitive. I trust the intuition. I really trust the guidance that comes through, you know, and it doesn't always make sense to me. You know, it's like I could be on my way to meet you and I'll just get guidance that ask Jaynie about red balloons. And I'm like, red balloons? That's absurd. And so, you know, I'll meet with you and I'll be like, does this mean anything to you? But all of a sudden it'll click for you and you go, oh. And I'll sense that emotion. And I've had that with a client where we've come in, started doing warm-ups, and I've said something to her, and she looked like she was going to start bawling. And I was like, okay, we need to go to my office. Let's take this inside for a second. And had an absolute, you know, breakthrough healing. You know, understood the root cause of something in her childhood that had caused trauma and had a lingering effect. You know, now she's in her 50s, and it's like, okay, we've had this breakthrough, woo, moment. And I'm like, look at the time, like, cool, we've got time, let's go back out and train. And so it's really just honoring that we're constantly going to have to do the inner work, and that's the most important thing, right? So when people lose their way, they're looking for an outside outlet. They're looking towards, you know, alcohol is probably the most common one. Any outside way of escaping the hurt or the pain that they might be feeling, right? But we have everything within us that we could possibly need, and that inner work, that inner connection to self, is the most important thing that we can do when we want to show up as our complete selves for other people. Is knowing today, even just knowing today who you are as a soul today. And you don't need to know where you're going to be tomorrow and why everything's happened to you, but sometimes, like, you understand that what you've gone through has made you who you are, and you've chosen that soul path to a degree. Like, there are many different beliefs, but I believe that we chose all of these things, this journey, because of who it makes us, you know, and it's the ones that have gone through the most shit are the strongest, but also the most put together. You know, I know that I felt that way when I met you, you know, and we started to share, you know, war journeys, so to speak. And it's like, look how put together we are, and we look so strong on the outside, but like we've gone through a lot of hurt. And I think when people start to to do the healing and start to really honor and understand who they are, it brings out another level of strength that just is all encompassing. Like it is, you can really, you can help from that place. You can
Yes.
lead from that place.
Yes.
And when you say like, when people walk, you know, how you show up for anyone around you, right? It's not even just humans. It's all any living being. You know, people always say like animals understand energy. They understand a good person when they see one, and so it's energy. It's I could walk down the street and just smile at someone, and then they'll automatically they'll catch that vibration and be like, I felt that. She smiled. She really looked into my eyes and smiled at me, and I feel warm now. And they'll never know who I am and why that happened, but they'll have a little bit of extra oomph in their step.
Yeah.
And so when you understand that kind of energetic frequency power that you can have just by existing, that makes an effect on other people. Just being happy within yourself, you don't even have to say why. It's just you just feel good. And it makes other people feel good to be around you.
Yeah.
And so if we can investigate and dive into that further, and I think that's where it's always beneficial to have somebody who has gone through what you feel like you're about to go through to just help you guide you there, you know.
Yes.
Like, yeah, we can get there ourselves, maybe slowly. But if someone's given you the GPS coordinates and given you a little bit of guidance along the way, then you'll always get there faster.
Exactly.
And you'll feel like you've had your hand held the whole time. And honestly, your hand is always held. You're never really alone. You know, infinite intelligence or universe, whatever you believe, you're never truly alone. But sometimes you feel it, and it's nice to have another soul walking beside you, going, "You're doing good. Keep going."
Exactly. Let's go back again to something that you touched on briefly before. You had a journey in bodybuilding. What brought you to start doing that, and what did that part of your life teach you?
So I always had an interest in bodybuilding. So since I was 12 years old, very much an athlete my whole childhood. I was a dancer. I loved basketball, and I played everything in school and things like that. So I'm not the tallest. And so I understood.
Not many of us are.
No, and especially in basketball, you know. So I'm fast, but I wasn't tall. So I knew I needed to highlight my strengths. And I understood, and I'm so proud of myself because I understood that being stronger was going to make me a better shooter and a better basketball player. And so I wanted to do weights. And so back at this time, it was not popularized at all for any females to be lifting a weight. And there were no really like females in the gym. They were just doing gym classes and trying to eat like rabbits and, you know, train like rabbits, right? And so
I remember those days.
Yeah, it wasn't, even when I first started the gym, classes were easier to do. But when I would tinker around in the weights room, I would see like the bodybuilders and the athletes, and they were like really strong, and I'm like, I just knew that if they're doing that and they're getting strong and they've got muscles, I was like, I need to do that too. And so off to the library I went, or, you know, I used to buy magazines, and I used to buy the female fitness magazines because they had the hot chick on the front, right? I'm like, I want to look like her.
Yeah.
And so they give you these diets and these training plans, and I'd follow them, and I'm like, no, nothing's really happening. I'm not really enjoying this process. So I started buying male bodybuilding magazines, and my mum freaked out because she's a little Filipino lady, and she's thinking, oh my goodness, my little girl is going to look like a man. And I'm like, Mum, relax, like it's not going to happen. I just want to learn how they're training and how they're building the body. So I've always had that interest in like sculpting the body, and I really think that that's also a strength of mine, because it's not just training. It's one, you've got to do it with a particular form that is correct for your structure, but also one that like complements how your body is supposed to look, you know, and how you want it to look. Because I don't tell anybody how they want. I ask them, like, how do you want your body to look? Like, let's work on that. And you want to be strong, fit, lean. What do you want? And let's go there. But the thing that I've always had an interest in is obviously gym and training. And the one thing I wish I knew, like back then, is a me to teach me how to do things back then, so that I would have got an accelerated result I had done that journey the lonesome way and learned from books and learned from magazines and learned from trial and error myself. And then when I eventually got to a position, so one of those life events that I was telling you about, and it was actually the one that I said at the beginning when I got my PT certification and I collapsed. And so I went through this whole process, and it led to a point where a surgeon was telling me I needed surgery on my hip. And so there was just no way that, like, because I was in a lot of pain. I was limping around for about 6 months to give you a
Wow.
visual.
Wow.
So any idea of competing was definitely not on my agenda. I was just trying to not to live a pain-free life again and to be able to train again. And so when I finally got to that point, again another while away after that, again, I think you and I've talked about like earth angels and things like that. It's like people that you meet along the way you may never see again, and they've just kind of dropped something in your ear. And this woman at the gym, she said to, because she was competing, and I said, "Oh, I love that you do that. That's really cool. I'd love to do that one day." And she said, "Well, what's stopping you?" And I was like, "Oh, well, nothing anymore."
Good question.
Yeah, nothing anymore.
Yeah.
Like something was stopping me before, but nothing's now. And so I went 100% all in and did my very first show. And then I did 3 more shows after that in my first season. That was back in 2012, I think now. And yeah, I've done quite a few shows since then. So it's what it taught me, Jaynie, is that is discipline. Is like, you know, one, you've got to commit and go all out. Like I'm an all in kind of person anyway. When I say I'm going to do something, like I'm going to do it. And so that's what I did. And there was, I didn't quote cheat on it or anything like that. Like I went all in. I did all the training. Sometimes I trained at like 9:30 p.m. at night because it's like, no, I got to get it done. I got to get it done. I ate all the food. I did. I looked fantastic. My first show, I think I was 10% body fat.
Wow.
I was 100% the leanest person on stage, but I didn't place because this is where my naivety kicked in. And perhaps it's because I was a dancer and I thought, I don't know how to showcase my body. No, you don't, Ria. You've never done a bodybuilding competition. You actually need to learn how to pose like a bodybuilder.
Interesting.
And so that's where I let myself down. And so I didn't place because I posed like shit.
Right.
And so I then hit the drawing board, learned how to pose, and then did 3 more shows and placed every show after that. And that's the difference. It's like you can do all the work, but you've really got to do all the work.
All the work. Yeah, I was just going to say it's all of it, isn't it?
Yeah, and posing is not the favorite part for me, and a lot of people that I know, this like they love the training, they love eating good, and they love feeling good and getting and seeing the results. But posing, you know, and I'm even quite, you probably laugh, but I'm a little bit shy to like get naked at the gym, you know, at the beach.
Yeah.
Like I can wear next to nothing on a stage and feel fine. Well, relatively.
Relatively.
But like at the beach, I'm always self-conscious, and I'm like, because you know, because people look at you and you're like, oh, but like on the stage, I understand that like it's a show and it's a performance, and you've got to go out there and showcase all your hard work, because otherwise, what's the point?
That's a really interesting point to flesh out a little bit, isn't it? Because you know, like well, in life is a stage, and you know, for when we go to work, or again touching on the workplace, or when we're out at doing various activities and things like that, there's always an element, either known or unknown, within us that feels like we're being watched or being judged or, you know, on show. And so a mask comes up and we play that. How do you when you have your clients and you're helping them both physically and through life coaching as well, how do you navigate through that with them? I mean, you specifically, I know, would pick up if that's one of the issues that they're presented with. What sort of things would you do with those clients in order to help them sort of navigate and, you know, dissolve those issues as a negativity, or do you identify them and help that client turn it into a positive that they can use for themselves?
Yes, I help them identify it. You know, it's one thing for it to come to me, but like
Mm.
we sort of have to work together to figure out those points, if that makes sense. It's
Mm.
like I don't I like, for example, with the mother coming through, it's like it felt like motherly energy. It felt like a mother, so that was quite easy to get to. But whereas when I just say something like red balloon, and it's like, oh, I've got no idea, and then it's just, well, was it in your childhood? Was there something like, So
Mm.
we sort of have to get to that root thing together, and then I help them through that. But I'd say um, of recent times, I've probably dealt with a lot more of like, it's probably going to sound a bit, maybe not to this audience, so I'll just say it, um, entity attachments and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a little bit more easier for me to identify when that is occurring. And,
Right.
because one, you'll feel a bit out of sort, and then I'll kind of tune in energetically and then pick up that things are not right,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can assist through that process of elimination, and then you just know instantly that that's been lifted. So
Right.
that's something a little bit, I guess, maybe harder to understand, but from a journey of through trauma, like I guess what you were sort of leading through is
Mm.
um, we do the work in whichever way it feels fit, because you're a life
Mm.
coach as well, and it's like it, it's it's helping the person identify the memory, because sometimes they block that out of their memory,
Mm.
and then you bringing it back up, and then the emotions comes through, and it's really I know a strength of mine also is just holding space for people
Mm.
and making people feel safe. So I think that really helps them get vulnerable enough to go back to that moment and to shed those layers, that old clothing that's kind of just been tethering away,
Mm.
and becoming a new. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's I really really enjoy being able to facilitate that kind of healing for people, because it's life changing.
Mm.
It's so life
It is.
changing.
It is. What's exciting you in your life at the moment?
My book, my first book,
Ooh.
I'm writing, and
Give us a quick insight on that.
um, it's kind of fun for me. And it's not daunting anymore. It was daunting because I think I was writing it in my mind and in my soul for a long time, years even, and I knew that it was going to come out, and it's come to that point where it was just brewing, like bubbling out to, I have to start writing. And then once I started writing, it was like, okay, this is so easy. Like, why did I postpone this? And I have to call myself out on my own shit sometimes, because it's like, why was I putting it off? And ultimately, there are different reasons why we put off doing things, and most of the time it's fear of some sort.
Mm.
It's fear of judgment or fear of whatnot. And for me, it was, what if it's not good? You know,
Mm.
and I think that something as silly as saying that out loud, it's like, well, hang on, Ria, you write the book only you can write, and the right people will find your message. And that's been with everything that I do. It's the podcast, it's the YouTube, it's everything that I share online. It's write it and share it for the people who need your voice in the way that you explain things, because that's the feedback that I get. It's like, your podcast episode, or that, when I saw you say, and you said that really, like, really hit home for me. And so I really just called myself on it, and it's like, just write the book only you can write. And once I started, it's like, wow. And I know what my intentions behind it is, and I know what the lessons behind it is. And ultimately, my intention is that, one, I am kind of writing in a way that is fiction-like, but it's factual, because I'm basing it on my father's story. And so he lived a very a very interesting life, to say the least. And it's ultimately about leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was talking to you, I help leaders, I'll bring out the stronger leader in people, right? We all have that ability.
Yeah, a superhuman.
No one's not a leader, Yeah, we
Yeah.
all have that superhuman ability somewhere, and I hope that at least the people that I cross paths with will be able to experience their ultimate potential, because then when they get to the end of their life, they'll be like, yeah, you don't want to have regrets. And I know that I would have regrets if I didn't write this, because one, I'm honoring my father's story. Two, I'm teaching lessons about leadership and resourcefulness and determination and all these things, and getting to a point where you ultimately feel fulfilled. It's not about what society deems as success. My father wasn't a wealthy man, but he was the most content man. He had reached a level of happiness that most people will never understand, because they're chasing such a material outcome. And so I'm writing it in such a way that it is fictional, but it is teaching. And that's fun for me.
Yeah, it's powerful as well, whether people know it or not. That's for sure. Ria, how can people get in contact with you and work with you, listen to your podcast, see you on YouTube, and connect with you more? How can they do that?
I'm pretty easy to find. There's only one Ria Mestiza online. However way you want to connect, I obviously have websites.
Yeah.
I've got riamestiza.com and fitseek.com. That's the brand behind, but I'm the brand, so it's whichever way. I've got YouTube channels for Superhuman, Fatigue, the podcast, and I guess I'm not sure if I really answered your question again behind Superhuman itself. It's like that podcast I started to be another resource for my clients. But what I didn't understand was that it was going to be able to be a resource for so many more people that needed a particular topic, or they've been guided. Like those episodes they continually get listened to, even though I haven't been as consistent with them in recent times. And so that really makes me understand, okay, I need to keep going with that, and I need to keep sharing so that people can just get what they need from that. And if I can only help them in that way, then that helps me too. But if they want to meet me and work with me in person, I mean, I love my in-person work, even though I'm trying to do more online and really build a community of people that we can work online together and support each other on an ongoing basis. But that one-on-one time is just, it's invaluable.
Yeah.
And I love that. There's nothing like being in person with somebody. So I still do that. I still run my practice within a gym environment, which is in Theberton. And so if you're in Adelaide, we can do that. I also go interstate, so don't be shy. Just reach out. There's always a way we can work together.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm really excited about your book, and I would love to have you back on Soul Sentred, the podcast, when the book comes out,
100%.
and so that we can really unpack that as well, because that in and of itself is a whole episode for us to talk about, because there's so many lessons. And, as you say, you're writing it from a fictional perspective, but it is based on your father's life, and an incredible man that he was. And I'm sure that there will be lots of pearls of wisdom in and amongst every page on that as well. So yeah, definitely come back when keep us in touch on that. But thank you so much for joining us today, Ria. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you and get a little bit more of an insight into you and your background, and more so where things are leading you. And I think one of my takeaways, if I can add that in closing, one of my takeaways is the consistency of evolution of life and having a healthy curiosity in everything that comes around, not just acceptance of what it is. And you're incredible at that, and it's very powerful, and very grateful to have you on Soul Sentred, the podcast today.
Thank you. It's been my honor.
No, thank you. And if you've enjoyed this episode, because I know you have, and you want to learn a little bit more, or please go to Soul Sentred, go to our website, soulsentred.com, and check out the magazines that we have there also. Soul Sentred magazine, Ria does contribute from time to time, and there's some more pearls of wisdom in there. It's been a great episode. I've just loved this. I hope you have too. And look, if you have, love to hear your feedback. Remember to comment wherever you are listening or watching us on our YouTube channel. We will have all the links to connect with Ria below where you're listening or watching us right now, so you can check out, connect with her as well. And remember to subscribe. Never miss an episode of Soul Sentred, the podcast. That's how it'll work for you. I'm Jaynie Morris. It's been my absolute pleasure to have your company once again. Look forward to having you back on Soul Sentred, the podcast. And have a beautiful day or evening wherever you are in this amazing, beautiful world of ours. Take care.